So I double featured the Waxwork films tonight. It's been a long, long time since I've seen these films. I saw them up on the shelf and was like, fuck it, let's check these out. And so here we go. Both of these were written and directed by Anthony Hickox, and both of them also star Zach Galligan from Gremlins fame, obviously. So in the first one, we have him as well as Deborah Foreman, which was good to see because I'm a huge Valley Girl fanatic. I love that damn movie. One of my ultimate favorite 80s teen romantic comedies. I always see it as a romance film, but also a teen comedy as well. And I can't say enough good about that movie. But Deborah didn't do a whole hell of a lot besides My Chauffeur and a little brief cameo in Real Genius and stuff like that. But yeah, she didn't make a lot for herself, and she wasn't in the sequel to this because she was dating Anthony Hickox, and I guess they had a really bad breakup, so she declined to come back for this movie, or for the next movie. Which was a shame because, I would have liked the continuity. But, you gotta just deal with what you gotta deal with. So, let's talk about the first Waxwork here. Alright, so Zach Galligan is some rich kid, and he has a real bitchy girlfriend, and she wants to whore around with whoever she wants to whore around with. But I will say this about her now, she is a bitch. I'm not going to say she isn't. But she does straight up say to him, like, I want what I want when I want it, and either you can dig it or you can fuck off. I mean, he's the one chasing her. She's being pretty fucking straight up with him about her intentions, about her desires, and as he says in this, I want what I can't have, and I sure as hell can relate to that for sure. So I don't know exactly how to take China's character in this, because I want to be like, what a bitch, but she's pretty damn honest. Not like she's not cheating on him, really. She's just being a bitch. But can you really fault someone for being like that if they're just completely straight up about things? It's a tough one. Like, if you don't like it, fuck off, like she says. And he chooses to stay around. So, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. Yes, her attitude is bitchy, but she has every right to be, because that's her, that's her choice, right? So, I don't know. Anyway, but I found myself conflicted throughout the movie, just being like, how do I feel about this girl? How do I feel about this girl? And that line, the dig it or fuck off line, was like, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. So, all right. Anyway, the slow-mo football stuff, like when China and everyone are talking up on the the bleachers. Why is that in there? They're just like guys slowly ramming into each other. Sounds like something else. But yeah, I was sitting there so confused while watching it. Like, why is this inserted in here? Why is it in slow motion? And why is it like bone crunching hits? Is that supposed to add something to the movie that I'm unaware of? I don't get it, but whatever. And I like how when they go up to the wax museum, the one chick's like, I got a bad feeling about this. We're out of here. And the dude follows her, and they're like, yep, just done. Adios. And the wax figures are just clearly people who are standing as still as they can, but they're moving a little bit because you cannot stand like perfectly still. Your body just has little bits of motion into it. Like, try to record yourself standing really still. Here, I'll try to do it. See if it looks like I'm moving at all. Did it look especially if you're holding your hands up in a certain way? Look at that. There's no my hand's moving just a little bit. So, what I was wondering here was, you know, can you just do like a still image? But I feel like every time they do a still image, it just looks like a picture, and it wouldn't look like it. Because I was thinking, like, if they just wanted to show those people without movement, they could just put one continuous picture up there and just run it for a little while they were showing the different scenes of the different wax figures. But I don't know if that would work, because even though, I don't know, like when you're filming something, there's a different kind of feel to the film actually going as opposed to just one single image. And I'm not really sure, because if it's a stationary shot and nothing's moving, it should look just like a picture, right? But I feel like anytime there's a still image up on the screen, you can always tell it's a still image. Am I crazy on this? But anyway, I feel like if not, though, that's what they should have went with. And just, yeah, it's funny that they use just regular people. But, I mean, it makes sense. How much would the budget have had to have increased just to make an actual wax figure of every freaking character in this movie that looks exactly like the actor that's going to play them once they go? Like, it makes the most sense to do it like this. But it is funny. And I like how the first guy is just like, oh man, who slipped acid into my drink? And then he's like, oh, it can't be that. I don't drink anymore. I'm hypnotized. That's what it is. He has to rationalize it in some way, which another thing I can relate to. And they're teleported into these things, and as each one has been fulfilled, then that thing is like shut down. No, you can walk into it, but it won't teleport you. So I thought that was kind of cool. We get John Rhys-Davies in here, of course, Gimli himself. Cool to see him, if only for a minute. The werewolf sequence, because this essentially plays out like an anthology movie. You've got just different locations, and they all go into them, and they're all their own kind of self-contained little stories for those characters, for those moments, whether they be like 5 minutes, 10 minutes or so. You got a werewolf thing, you got a vampire thing, you got the Marquis de Sade, you got a whole different zombies and whatnot. So that's kind of cool. You get a lot of bang for your buck through this movie. It's an adventure film, adventure horror, which is what the first and the second one, especially the second one, ends up being. The second one's like a freaking Stay Tuned or a Bill and Ted, or, you know, any movie where they're jumping from location to location throughout time or space-time. And I love that the werewolf, they break a chair over the werewolf, and the werewolf like takes his paw and wipes his shoulder off. I thought that was fucking hilarious. That's one of the funniest things I've seen a werewolf do since Wes Craven's freaking what the hell is that movie called? Cursed. Jesus, with Christina Ricci, which they said the unrated cut, the director's cut, the R-rated cut, whatever, still exists, and they absolutely need to release that thing, because the PG-13 cut is obviously hacked. But in that movie, the werewolf gives a middle finger to like the police, and I just thought that was the funniest fucking thing at the time. And now we got a werewolf like brushing off Luke Skywalker style, like, get that shit out of here. So I thought that was pretty damn great. But then he grabs the guy, the werewolf grabs the guy, rips his head, and tears him in two straight down the center. Great stuff. Always love having scenes this way. Where Wrong Turn 2, I've always said, I feel like features one of the best I've ever seen. I mean, I guess now Terrifier and Bone Tomahawk are probably the highest level of having in that direction, but there's some other really, really good ones as well. Anyway, we get Miles O'Keefe in here. How much Keefe is in this movie anyways? Miles O'Keefe. Any Mystery Science fans are gonna get that reference. Then you've got China going into her vampire place, and she's given like a bowl of raw meat and just blood. Bleh. So gross. And then they become vampires. Of course, well, I guess they are already vampires, but they show themselves to be vampires, which you guys know I'm not a very big vampire fan. And I feel like Miles is really just hamming it up in this. Like the way he talks, I get that he's trying to be suave and debonair and like, I don't know, it just feels so wooden. I don't know. I don't care for his performance much in this, but the film doesn't really ask for dramatic, serious acting by any means. But that's what he's kind of trying to do here, but it's not really landing. Love that she makes a cross, puts it on the things on the vampire's head, and it blows the guy's head up. A lot of good gore in here. I will say that. And then there's a big bloody fight between China and all these like brides of Dracula essentially, and she like stakes one and blood's flying everywhere, and then she throws another one like into a bunch of champagne bottles. Like, maybe they're supposed to be wine, but they erupt like they're champagne, so I don't know exactly know. But I thought that was all pretty cool. But then after this huge fight and she resists all these other vampires, I guess the charms of the Keefster, are too hard to fight against, because she gives into that shit instantly and ends up dying. I didn't like that she didn't fight against him at all, but I guess, as I said, that's supposed to show us that she can't resist his charm there. But yeah, I don't know. It wasn't working on me, so maybe that's why I had a problem with it. The cops, of course, are useless. That's just, I mean, I love how they portray cops in movies, like when they need to be portrayed that way. It's always convenient, right? And so dude, Zach Galligan's character in this comes in to grab Sarah, Deborah Foreman's character, and he pretends he's sick to do it, and Sarah's like laughing, ah, ha, ha, ha. Like, and she pretends to be sick with him, and then when they get out of the classroom, he then goes back to being normal, of course, and she's like, "You're not sick, I'm gonna get expelled." You're not sick? You were well aware he wasn't sick. That's why you were pretending to do it with him. Like, what? That was such a weird sequence. But as I said, you're not supposed to take this movie seriously. I just laughed out loud when I saw her say, like, "What? You're not sick?" Did she bought that he was sick? Really? I mean, she bought it so much that it was like mass hysteria. She started feeling like she was sick because he was showing signs of sickness, right? And telling her she should be sick as well. Is that what happened? Well, there you go. And yeah, I already used all that. We got a Mummy movie then next, and we got a good head crush, which was great. We get a little bit of zombie action, but no zombie killing, because the character would have died if that would have happened. And let's see. Of course, now what I thought was pretty cool is that Sarah's character is like totally in to S&M, whipping, I don't know, dominating, dominatrix. No, a dominatrix is a woman, right? Or can a dominatrix be a man? I don't know how that shit works. Guys, I'm not kinky at all. Sorry to break some of your hearts, but I'm really not. Like, sex has always just been good enough for me. I don't need to be like shit on to get off. Like, that's just not my thing. Nothing against you if someone has to like piss in your face for you to have an orgasm, but it just ain't for me. So I've never had any desire to be tied up or whipped or strangled or to do that to anybody either. Like, that's just not, I have no interest in anything like that. I don't know. I think that would probably surprise some of you guys, to be honest. And I think it does surprise a lot of people, especially like people I end up getting with. Just kind of how I talk about sex. I always be like, "Oh, I bet Jason's a freak." No, I'm not. I'm boring, I guess. I've always thought sex is so amazing. I don't need to spice it up all that much. Not that I'm a prude by any means. Just I don't need to be fucking hit and pain, and it doesn't do nothing for me. Anyways, moving on. More More about my sex life you don't need to know, I guess. But I just thought it was funny that her character in this is like totally into it, and like is completely dominated by them. She's like, no, don't let him take me. I want you. I need you, Marquis de Sade. She's like obsessed with this guy's, you know, stories and is drawn to him. This is like the only guy that can pleasure her. See, if dude Zach Galligan's character, which I fucking can't remember his name right now, is it like, oh shit, I don't know, Steve? No, is that it? I don't know. Anyways, she's if he was smart in that moment, he should have just been like, bitch, I'll whip you. You know, come on, I'll beat the shit out of you if we leave right now. Come on, girl. Maybe she would have jumped up and been like, really? All right. I mean, I guess I'm into you now, so let's go whip this ass. And yeah, I mean, he teaches her, like, if you don't believe, it can't hurt you. I mean, how many times has this been done? Oh my God. Every time now, it's just like, don't believe. It can't hurt you if you don't believe in it. If I never see that again, I'll be a very happy man. Then we get the big battle, and Wilfred. Yeah, because it's like the name of the dog from the Elijah Wood show. Yes, I know it was like a show before that, but the Elijah Wood one's the one I watched. I love Wilfred. I actually dressed him up like him for Halloween twice. I never wear the same costume twice, but I just love that damn character. I love that show so much. But anyways, Wilfred has a wheelchair that he's like fashioned into this like mini tank with like wings on it and shit. It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. And then we got Jenkins the butler, which off the top of my head now, it's been a long time since I've seen that show, but the like young Scooby-Doo show with Velma and freaking, I'm trying to remember. Isn't Daphne's freaking butler like come up, and isn't his name Jenkins, or am I out of my goddamn mind on that? But like she calls him and he helps them like every episode. Is that his name? I don't remember. But as soon as I heard it, that's where my brain went. So I'm gonna have to look that up after. I should always look these things up before, but what's the fun in that? I love not knowing what the fuck I'm talking about. It makes it more fun for conversations down below. Unless the person's a dick. Then that's even more fun, because then we can kind of have it out. And I love that Miles O'Keefe's bat, when he's trying to fly away, gets caught. Somebody's holding him in his hand, and they put the gun to his head, and the bat says, "Make my day," as he blows the fucking bat's head off. That's hilarious. We don't get to see like the bat's mouth move or anything to say it, but it's clearly or at least that's the way I saw it, was that the bat was saying, "Make my day." Hilarious. I like how they ask the dude who runs the wax museum why he wants to end the world, and he's like, somebody has to. Somebody has to. It reminds me of a Simpsons episode where Lisa has a crush on Nelson, and she goes into his bedroom and he has a poster that says "Nuke the whales," and she's like, "Nuke the whales?" And he's like, "Gotta nuke something," and she says, "Touche." I don't know. Okay, I'm just going to quote cartoons from now on, I guess. But that one I actually know for sure. I remember that like verbatim for some reason. I've always remembered that sequence. Gotta nuke something. I just thought that was a great answer. That was like a stranger's answer, like because you were home or something. Like just a total brutal answer of like, well, somebody's got to end the world, right? I mean, you live on the planet, right? So probably don't want to end it. But I guess he thinks, I don't know. But he pulls out a gun. What is this gun that he's holding? It looks like a fucking gun out of like a cheesy science fiction futuristic movie, like a freaking ray gun or something. I was like, what the fuck is that thing? That's not a real gun. I don't know. But then he gets hit off the balcony, right? Or the stair, well, whatever, above. And he falls into the wax, which is like supposed to be like hot wax, right? And it splashes everywhere. And the circumference of the room, now there's like the thing's right in the center, and then he falls right into it and it splashes out. And Zach Galligan and Sarah, they're both just sitting right there, like 2 feet away from it. I mean, he even jumps out and grabs him because he's so damn close. But they don't get splashed by any of it. They're not burned by any of it. And then when the guy grabs him, and he's like, I have something to show you, or something really lame. It's the way he delivers it and everything. It's just super, super fucking lame. But he grabs him, and there's no like burning. There's no hotness to it. His skin like looks a little like burnt, but very little. Like he should be melting, man. He should be given the Terminator 2 thumbs up as he falls into the molten lava, aka freaking hot wax. But nope. And then yeah, they. Not that when he comes. Oh, not hot. Hot. That's an H? Yikes. That is a fucking seriously jacked up H, Jay. Alright, anyway. And then, yeah, they get away. Freaking Wilford gets his head ripped right off by a werewolf, which is great. But the whole place burns down, and then the hand gets away, which is what sets up the second movie. So let's get over to that one.